Hi, Viv going live from York. So I'm doing this about, I'm a shamanic practitioner. I trained, back in 2010, did 4 or 5 years of training. And I mentioned it a bit on my live last week. And Tracy asked if I would do a bit more about the shamanic side of things. So I thought I'd do a live today about power animals. And weirdly enough, I wasn't going to do it because I was going to have a bit more of a think about it. But obviously Tracy asked last live. But I'd also been listening to some podcasts that were just giving pointers. And this is one of the things that's happened since I've done my shamanic training, is I tend to really notice when I'm being pointed in a certain direction or shown certain things. So it was really interesting. I was listening to Russell Brand's podcast with Wim Hof on it. Hi Tracy, I just mentioned you and you missed it. You'll have to go back and watch. I was listening to Russell Brand's podcast where he was talking to Wim Hof, the Iceman. And he said, we're all animals, we're all mammals, and all mammals can heal themselves. We just need to connect to nature. So that was one pointer, because that's something that I'm very aware of, having a power animal and working shamanically. It is about nature and being connected to that, and land spirits and animal spirits and stuff. And then I was listening to the Primal Potential podcast, episode 566, which is actually an older one of her episodes, but I'm a bit behind with listening to them. And she was talking to this guy called Stefandos, I don't know if I've said that right, who classes himself as a relationship alchemist. And he thinks transformation happens through conscious connection to ourselves and others. And that really resonated with me, because I definitely feel that with my power animal, I am way more connected to myself, because my power animal is part of me. So it was really interesting to have those sort of 3 pointers pointing at maybe doing something about power animals, and thinking about doing some more podcasts in the future about my shamanic work and stuff like that. So the reason I really like having a power animal, other than the fact that it helps me with my shamanic work, because my power animal is a spirit teacher, and I use spirit teachers to help with all my shamanic healing, is the fact that very often as humans we sort of disassociate from being mammals. So as Wim Hof says, we are mammals, we're animals, and we need to be reminded of that. So just the pure fact that you have a power animal means that you're reminded that you are actually an animal, because you have one who you can connect with daily. And that's something that I would advise anyone who gets a power animal to connect with them daily. Just do a sort of check-in saying, hi, thanks for being there. But what I also love is the fact that it's a power animal. And as people, very often in this world, this crazy world we live in, we give our power away to other people, to things, to collecting stuff, to status, or I've got to compare myself to someone else. And that gives our power away, and that can often lead to illness. So that's something, as a shamanic practitioner, if somebody came to me and said, oh, I've got this illness and blah, 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 I would be looking at, when did that happen? When did that start occurring? And I'd be looking at a way to bring back power for that person, whether that be a power animal or doing some of my healing techniques. When I do healing techniques, I very often, in fact, I think I always have brought power back for that person, because we give it away so much. And sometimes that's something we need to do, like giving away a bit of your power to your kids, for example, that you need to put yourself aside sometimes and deal with them, or with other situations. But very often we give that away, and it can cause real problems with ourselves, like feeling not quite ourselves, or, as I said, illness, or it shows up in another way. So that's another thing I love. So you've got power animal, so you're reminded that we're an animal, and therefore we should respect nature and act in a way appropriate to the earth, but also that you've got this power, which is great if you're going into any situation where you feel you will lose that, or someone will try and take that away from you. You can just go, I've got a power animal, you can't do that. So for me, obviously, as a shamanic practitioner, I use it in my healing. Okay, Louise, come and see me again. I use it in my healing, but say I gave you a power animal as part of a healing, it's it is like having a personal assistant or a best friend or someone who's solely there for you. And again, that's something we very rarely have as people, is somebody who's just there for you. I know people have best friends and stuff like that, but that person could also be someone else's best friend. They're also probably going to have family members and stuff like that. So they're not always going to be there just for you. Even if you've got a life partner, that person's going to have other things going on in their lives. So a power animal is there for you. It's not for anybody else. You don't, very often people don't even say what their power animal is because they feel that is giving some of their power away. And it's something just for you. So it's like having your own personal best friend. Yay, come and have another session, Louise. That would be lovely. So for me, in my own personal life, so let's take away the fact that I'm a shamanic practitioner and I use my power animal in my healing session. So for me, it basically keeps me on my right path, helps me to be a healthier person, helps everything. So it's not just emotionally or mentally, or, you know, if I'm going into a stressful situation, I'll remember I've got a power animal. So that's, you know, that's a mental thing. And obviously it's a spiritual thing because it connects me to that side of myself. But it can help me physically as well. So I'm sure some of the things I've been doing recently are because I started down this journey and I've empowered myself and I feel more embodied in myself. I feel more consciously connected to myself because I've got a power animal. And I feel like I can be more my authentic self. I have the power to do that. Not in a sort of cocky or whatever way, but just in an authentic, truthful, without judgment. I feel I can see other people and accept where they are on their journey because I've got a power animal, like my best friend, who's accepting where I am on my journey, because it's something that my power animal doesn't judge where I am. If I'm having a bad day, it's not going to turn around and go, oh, I can't believe it. It's going to say, right, how can I help with that? How can I give you more of yourself? How can I make you feel more connected to yourself? So I feel like I've found sort of like a deeper truth to who I am. And there was something else I wrote down. And that idea that animals live in the moment, so they don't do that thing about worrying about stuff in the future. So sometimes it's just a really good reminder when I just breathe and connect to my power animal and go, yeah, it's okay. They live in the moment. They are unashamedly what they are. Animals don't go around going, oh, I'm a lion, but I want to be a peacock because it looks better. You don't have any of that sort of worrying about what someone else is doing. Actually, probably lions don't live anywhere near peacocks, but you know what I mean. And then that idea of sort of magic happening when you're having, I don't know if you've ever had those moments when you are talking to someone where you really feel connected to them, you're in rapport with them, and you have those little magic moments when they're sort of mirroring to you what you needed to hear, and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. I don't know if you've had those sorts of moments, but those moments happen quite a lot when I'm just having a little chat with my power animal. And it doesn't have to be a long thing. It can just be a check-in where I'm suddenly, I don't know, some magic happens in that space. A bit like when you're waking up from a dream and suddenly something just pops into your head and you're like, oh, I really needed to know that. Those sorts of moments I feel happen a lot more because I acknowledge that I've got a power animal and that it is part of me, and I am that sort of empowered person because of it. So I thought I would just share those things. I think some of the things that have happened more in my life recently, as I said, is the sort of following my gut. I feel I go with my gut instinct a lot more, and I think that is definitely coming from that side of things. As I said, it's helped me be more myself. I feel less withdrawn as a person. So as a child, I didn't really talk. I know that's probably funny for some of you to hear, but I was quite withdrawn as a child, and I think I brought some of that into my adulthood. So I feel since I got my power animal and I've walked my shamanic journey, that I feel like I've become less withdrawn as a person. And when I feel that I'm being pulled back into that, sometimes I just, again, reconnect and feel empowered. And I feel that I'm not as sort of superficial as I used to be. Not that being, just chatting and being who you are and everything, that there's wrong with that, anything wrong with that. but I really like those sort of deep conversations I have with people, and that really getting to the crux of a problem or something that's going on. And again, I feel that's something that I've been more able to do since being on this journey. So I just thought I'd share some of those things because Tracy had asked me to do that, and I think it's a nice thing to explain why something is important to you, and just give a bit of feedback. I'm sure there's other things that will pop up when I've gone off my live and I'll go, oh, I didn't say that thing that's amazing. But if you want to know any more about power animals and shamanic work and shamanic healing and all that sort of stuff, then I'm always here for anybody to ask questions. I love talking about this stuff. It isn't something that I've done for my whole life. I in a previous life, I explained that I'd been brought up as a Methodist and then a Church of England Christian, and then I sort of became disconnected from that, and I went on a process that made me think, no, I really need to honour my spiritual side. We do have a quadrinity, as they said on this thing that I went on. We have like a physical body, a spiritual side, a mental side, and an emotional side, and I felt that I needed to honour that spiritual side, and that's what led me down the shamanic route, which for me has worked amazingly well. Might not work for other people, but I do actually think nobody can be a worse off person from having a power animal. So if you want to know more about it, just to get in touch with me. I'd love to talk to you about it. You can always come and have a healing session. You can ask me, I can get you a power animal. If that's something that you'd be interested in, just get in touch, chat with me, and I'd love to connect with you all. Okay, and if you think there's anybody else in the area, or even actually I can do power animal retrievals distance and then post something to someone for it. If you think anybody else would like to connect with me, just share the video. I'd love to connect with them. Okay, thanks for watching, people. Bye.